Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is a very cold January the 10th, 1985, and we do appreciate very much that we have some folks that came out and will grant us an interview tonight. Tonight, the Beavertown Historical Society takes great pleasure in interviewing Mr. Shem Aigler and Mrs. Ariel Hassinger. And we're going to begin the interview with Mr. Aigler. Shem, I already mentioned your name, but what is your full given name at birth?
Shem Aigler.
And what is the date of your birth?
August the 4th, 1908.
And where were you born?
In Beavertown.
Do you remember which house?
The house where my the house where Jake Moyer lives.
Okay, right across from the silk mill.
Right across from the silk mill.
And what were the full names of your parents?
Charles Edward Aigler was my dad, and Clara Mariah Catherine Aigler was my mother.
Was her maiden name?
Hassinger.
Hassinger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do you remember your grandparents at all?
Yes, I do.
What were their names?
James Henry Aigler, and Jane Aigler was my grandmother.
And what was her maiden name?
Hassinger.
Hassinger also.
Hassinger
and
also.
Mrs. Hassinger, that's interesting. Now, besides Ariel, do you have any other brothers and sisters?
I have two more sisters, one living and one deceased.
And who were they?
Emma Lingle of Harrisburg, it's my twin sister, and Nellie. She was married, Nellie Aigler, she was married to Norman Riggle, and she's deceased since, I believe, I don't know the year anymore.
41.
Since 1941?
Yeah.
Now, who was the first child?
Ariel, my sister Ariel.
So Ariel is the oldest, and then who would be next?
Nellie, my sister Nellie, and then Emma and I are twins.
And who was born first?
Emma.
So you're the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
Youngest of the litter, okay. Now, where did you go to school?
Beavertown.
And that's presently the Borough Building.
That is presently the Borough Building, and then they only had a 2-year high school, and I started Middleburg to finish my 4-year, and of course, I only went 2 months, and I seen I wasn't going to make it, so I quit school, 2 months of high school in Middleburg.
I believe you had told me you went to Middleburg on the train.
Yeah, we traveled back and forth on the train every morning and evening, and we were always about 5 minutes late when we got to school at Middleburg.
But that was because of the train schedule?
That was because of the train schedule.
Where was the school in Middleburg?
The school in Middleburg is where the tavern is right now.
You mean the Hotel Middleburger?
No, the tavern.
Oh, the town tavern.
The town tavern is where...
So actually you just hopped off the train and went back through the alley and you were at the school.
That is right.
Yeah, I didn't really know that. I didn't know where our Beavertown. A lot of Beavertowners claim they went to school in Middleburg.
And then there's a bunch of them went to Selinsgrove.
On the train also?
On the train also.
Ariel, I don't want to get to talking with you now, but do you remember the schedule of the trains?
Yeah, the train we traveled on was 8:20 in the morning and 3:45 in the evening to return.
Mm-hmm. So you went, what would that be, eastbound at 8:20?
At 8:20.
And westbound at 3:45?
Yeah.
What time did school start and end?
The school started at 9 o'clock and ended at 3:30.
Well, then you didn't have a lot of time to fool around.
We had to keep on the move.
Now, do you remember up here at Beavertown who some of your teachers were?
Yes, I do. Evelyn Stroiker was my first grade teacher. And let's see, Evelyn Stroiker, Hallie Walker, and Patch Walker was the 3 grades. And then it was Arthur Felker, Art Felker, Professor Felker, was our high school teacher here, and Emmett Miller was our high school teacher.
I've heard mentioned. Was he from around here?
He was from Clearfield, and he was our teacher here, and we graduated under Miller.
Okay. Now, who were some of your classmates?
There was Harry Bubb, Harl Freed, Bessie Diebler, and Margaret Miller, and Amelia Bingaman, and Emma, my sister.
Mm-hmm. And your twin sister.
Yeah.
Your older twin sister.
Yeah, older twin sister.
Now, at recess down here, I imagine you had recess, didn't you?
We had 15-minute recess.
What kind of activities did you fellows engage in?
In recess?
Yeah.
Well, we engaged mostly in baseball and, let's see, what was volleyball was our activities.
How about, did you have anything like fox and geese?
Fox in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that there we played in the evenings on the square here at Beavertown.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How about something like ring tag or skunk tag or something like that?
No, not during school.
You didn't?
No, that was at parties where we had those there.
Okay, well that's interesting. Interesting to know. Now you say you went a couple months to high school and figured you weren't going to make it, so you gave it up. What did you do after high school?
Worked for my father in the orchard.
Well, we know that your father was one of the premier orchard men. In fact, now that you bring the subject up, let's just, there were quite a few orchards around in those days, wasn't there?
Oh, everybody had an orchard.
Could you name some of them?
Yes, sir. It was Hen Weaver.
Henny Weaver lived next to where I live now,
That's
which
right.
is on Walnut Street.
That's right.
Now, where was his orchard? Right at the house?
No, they were all south of town here. Hen Weavers, and then Elmer Wetzel's, and then was Miriam Wetzel, and
You mean Dote?
no,
No. Okay.
and Abel Winey, and Chicky Spade, and Jim Wetzel. I don't remember of any more right now.
Well, how about the one up on the ridge
oh,
to
that
the
was,
north?
That there was Snyder's.
At that time,
At
Snyder.
that time, that was Snyder's orchard.
Didn't Mr. Oh, what was his name?
Heck
Feast.
Boy.
Didn't Feast have that at one time? Nur Feast.
No, not that I know of.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Heck had it when I was a kid.
Heck had it. He bought it off of Snyder, and Snyder started that orchard.
Now, was that Aaron Snyder's
Father.
father?
That's right.
Okay. And how about the ones to the ridges over behind Etzler's there?
That there is the one that Arthur Felker's dad, M.O. Felker, started that there one, and he had rented the land off of Ammon Hetrick for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Ammon Hetrick, I don't know if I should say this, Ammon Hetrick seen that he was making some money, so Ammon Hetrick closed in the lease on him and took the orchards over.
Mm-hmm. And how about the orchard in town that's just now being cut down for a housing development?
That there land belonged to Jim Wetzel, and Harold Hassinger planted that.
And Harold owned it until...
Harold owned it until it was sold.
So that was pretty much Harold Hassinger's orchard all the way through.
That was Harold Hassinger's orchard all the way through.
And the other ones were mainly to the south along the first bench of the mountain, you might say, or below even the first bench.
Yeah, and there was another orchard a little further west that belonged to Mel Bub.
Mm-hmm. He was the restaurateur here in
He
town.
had the restaurant here in town.
That's quite a few. Now let me ask you this. In those early days, when you quit high school, were there any fruit sellers as we know them in town?
There was none.
How did the people keep their fruit?
My dad kept his in my grandmother's cellar. There was no heat in there or anything, and it was damp, and he worked them in my grandmother's cellar and kept the apples there. And for their own individual use, they'd take a barrel and bury it out in the garden.
Like turnips. They used to take turnips and build a mound over them and put hay over that.
That's right.
That's interesting to know. I imagine everyone did that then, pretty much. Used the cellars and the ground storage.
And then my father built the storage house in 1936.
Now we have at present at least three in town. Harold Hassinger's and yours and what used to be Ammon Hetrick.
That's right.
I think Harold's was in the 1930s too. It might have been a little later. It might have been 38 or 39 that Harold Hassinger built his.
I do not know if he,
I remember Ped Omholz dug it out in 38 or 39. Dug out the shale, red shale there. But how about Ammon Hettrick's? Was that before or after yours?
that was after him.
So yours was really the first one in town?
That was the first one in town.
And now, just to bring us up to date, how many orchards do we have functioning right now?
One.
And whose would that be?
Well, I used to own, and I sold it last September.
So therefore, as far as Beavertowners are concerned, there are no orchards.
No,
No orchard men or women
that's right.
presently in Beavertown, yet at one time there
was-
were quite a few.
Might have been a dozen.
Well, we'll probably talk a little bit more about that, but